What's up everyone, Neil Kachuk here from Trench Fitness, checking in with my first video blog in a really long time. The reason I'm starting this now, I am currently 18 weeks out from my, or just over 18 weeks out from my pro debut in bodybuilding, and I basically made a commitment to myself that I would do a video blog per week leading up to my competition season. And the main thing with this is that I don't want it to be just me sitting here talking about my competition prep and I'm doing this and that. But I want to try and relate a lot of the things that I go through during this process and just kind of relate them to you guys out there. Share some things that we deal with on a daily and a weekly basis with our clients, both Erica and myself. Just things that we've had to deal with, struggles that other people have had, struggles that we've had, and also just try and relate it on a real life level. So not just strictly the bodybuilding fitness, I want to prepare for a competition level, but how a lot of these things that bodybuilding and the commitment that it takes to compete in, fitness, physique, and strength sports apply over to real life as well. So I really want to try and touch on that kind of stuff. Today's first topic, we're going to be talking just a little bit about fat loss and the patience that is required to reach sustainable levels of long-term fat loss and the results that come with that. We're going to really try and keep these shorter today because let's face it, nobody wants to sit here and listen to me babble for 20 to 30 minutes. You guys will probably shut it off if I go that long. So on the topic of fat loss and patience, I just want to start off by saying that fat loss takes a whole hell of a lot longer than you really think. A lot of these transformations that we see in the media, in the newspapers, this person lost 20 pounds in a couple of weeks, this person got shredded abs in 6 weeks, they just aren't realistic. So before you start any sort of a fat loss plan, you need to recognize the level you're at, how much body fat you do have, and you also need to realize what's realistic for you to accomplish in a certain amount of time. For most of our clients, we're looking at usually around 1 pound, 2 pounds of body fat loss per week. And you might ask, well, why not more than that? What if someone has 100 pounds to lose? Why aren't they losing 5, 6 pounds per week? We feel that the fat loss process should be almost as slow as possible because that allows us to create a more sustainable long-term environment. If you take a look at anyone who's lost a ton of weight very quickly, they've probably had to do it through a drastically reduced calorie diet with an excessive amount of either cardiovascular exercise or some form of training. And what tends to usually happen with these people who have lost a lot of weight very quickly is you see them rebound very quickly after they're off such and such plan, or they're not on the specific diet anymore. So yes, the results they've achieved are impressive, losing 20 pounds in 6 weeks or whatever. But what happens to these people after this transformation is over? And that's where with Trench Fitness, we're trying to create the most sustainable long-term environment to create a new healthy lifestyle for people. Because as you know, when you do lose weight, you lose body fat, there's a caloric restriction that's required, and your body is going to naturally fight to get back to the level that it's most comfortable with, which we call homeostasis. So the further and further you push away from that kind of set point level that you were originally at, the further your body's going to resist, any further loss or changes through changes hormonally, and things like that. So we really need to be cautious with how quickly we go. The slower you can take it, the more your body is going to be able to adapt over the long term. And you just really need to apply that patience and not always look for the number to show up on the scale. As we see a lot with people who are just starting out, maybe they're new to weight training, they're just starting on a new nutrition plan, that the scale oftentimes doesn't tend to move as much as they might expect. And you also have to recognize that there's some body recomposition going on there as well. So you're building muscle mass while losing body fat at the beginner stages of training. You know, there's a ton of other things to think about in terms of the weight on the scale at any given time. There's digestion, hydration, the timing of your food, the timing of your carbs, you know, the amount of sodium you're taking in your diet. For females, we also have to deal with the menstrual cycle as well, which can provide those day-to-day fluctuations. And that's just more of a reason why we don't only use the scale as a tool. We use measurements, photo progress, you know, and just various lifestyle factors to determine, is this person making progress towards their fat loss goals, or do we need to pick up the speed a little bit by, you know, changing calories around a little bit or dropping a little bit further. And this just brings me to the last point I want to touch on today, and that's just in terms of compliance and consistency. So yes, you know, we might set up calorie and training levels for you to lose theoretically 1 pound to 2 pounds per week. But if you're not following those calorie levels and getting in your weekly, you know, training levels on a daily basis every single day, then unfortunately, you know, it's going to be less than those 1 to 2 pounds per week. Since fat loss is so dependent on a calorie deficit, if you're having, you know, let's say 5 good days per week, and then on the weekend you have 1 or 2 slip-ups where all of a sudden your calories jump up a bunch higher, then you're not in that calorie deficit anymore, and your progress is going to be slowed and stalled, and you're going to have to restart and get back into that deficit, deplete glycogen back down to start tapping into your fat stores again. So just keep that in mind when you become impatient with the progress that you're seeing. Just reflect back on your journey and truly ask yourself, have I been compliant? Have I been consistent? You know, have I been weighing and measuring my foods 100% accurate and precise? And, you know, have I done that, and do my results speak for the work that I've been putting in? So taking all those factors into account, being honest with yourself, being honest with your coach, a lot of the times the results that you've achieved are exactly based on the work that you've put in. If you actually take a real honest reflection, you know, over the past weeks, months, years, and for a lot of the transformations that we put up, and I'm going to share a few of them at the end of this video here with just the time frame that it's taken, it just takes that much time. It takes a really, really long time to, you know, lose 50 pounds of body fat. And a lot of the times it's setting up that deficit, pushing it, but it gets to a point where the body just doesn't want to change anymore. So for a lot of our clients, we actually have to go through a rebuilding phase where we work calories back up, work them back up to maintenance for a while before we roll into another fat loss phase, just because your body resists so much as you lose more and more, and you lose more and more body fat, and your body changes more and more. So I hope this helps you guys out. I hope it kind of gives you a realistic, honest perspective. Sorry guys, camera died there. So just to recap, basic premise of this video is applying patience as it pertains on a fat loss plan. It takes a really, really long time to see results, progress, fat loss, and you need to put a good plan in place, an optimal plan in place, and stick to that plan for a very, very long time to see the results that you're after. Again, as I mentioned at the start of this video, I wanted to relate also to real life situations. So again, this is something that pertains to real life as well. With anything, you need to be patient for changes to take place. You need to be consistent, and you need to keep your goals at the forefront and remember why you're doing what you're doing. So with work, with relationships, with success in anything, you need to have a goal, you need to have a plan of action, and that plan of action needs to be stuck to wholeheartedly. And the same applies to fat loss, body recomposition, and achieving your health and fitness goals. So if you guys have any questions or ideas for upcoming videos, just fire me an email to neil@trenchfitness.com, and I'll try and address those things in the upcoming videos in the weeks and months coming up here. So thanks for listening, you guys. Keep training, stay healthy, keep your life balanced, and stay happy and positive. Cheers, guys.